Hey there. Okay, so I'm going to try this for real. I did one earlier, um, and really I was just rambling and not really paying attention and kind of just going all over the place. So I've been fooling around. This is going to be a for real one. I actually got a structure headed up. So, as if any of you watched me doing my um, last, not including the one I did today, but the last live broadcast I did, where I went into some really heavy and personal details about depression and, you know, mental health and everything. And it's, definitely something that I really um, truly believe in. But anyways, I'm not gonna get into that whole rant and me rambling again. So basically, why am I doing this? Well, you know, I'll put it to you this way: ever since I was a little kid, and yeah, I've said this before, I've been obsessed. I've wanted to have a career in radio. I love talking, and I loved it. So this is my own way of, killing time, doing some fun things, having fun, um, and just doing what I'm doing. I'm not expecting to have a lot of people watch. In fact, I'm not expecting to have many watch. But what we're going to do is I think I'm going to tell you, you know, my history with liking radio and the possibilities of broadcasting and everything like that. I'm not going to get into why I didn't do what I did, but you know, from a young age, I was a dork, and one of the biggest things that I used to do was I used to listen to talk radio, but and I didn't have kind of a rough idea of things. I knew it was out there. I toured the radio station a couple times. I used to phone in obnoxiously and win contests and things like that. I Yeah, it was fun. And then the thing when I listened to radio, a lot of it was political. It was really back in the day of things, and then I had an epiphany, and that epiphany was this. Oh, sorry, this right here. Yeah, I got exposed to Mr. Howard Stern. Okay, now for those of you that get offended or think he's an absolute sexist pig or anything like that, um, he really, really isn't. And there we go. The reason I respected Howard Stern is because he was minus what some people call obscene, minus what people were offended by. The man truly created a format that was absolutely mind boggling. And this right here is the reason why. Um, he liked to talk. He enjoyed making people laugh. He has expressed in recent years that, um, especially with his mental health, he was out of his mind and everything else. But if any of you know the history behind Howard Stern, one of the more amazing things was when he was working at a radio station in Washington, D.C. called DC 101. He was given a news person. And that person is who we're seeing to the right of him, Robin Ophelia Quivers. And Howard started doing something that really hadn't been done before. See, Robin was the news person, so Robin would listen. Robin would say her piece, but Howard would interrupt her, and then he'd comment on the news. And they would have interactions based on that. Um, but what's really fascinating behind that is the fact that with Howard Stern and Robin Quivers is how many people have copied him or have ripped him off. There's radio stations I've listened to my entire life that had the format of, the news guy, all serious, his deep, gravelly voice. 22 dead today in a plane crash out of the. Well, yeah. But, there would be that. Well, sometime in the 2010s, late early 2000s, they a lot of radio stations started doing ripping off Howard with having the news person being the co-host and them interacting about the news in a radio format. Mm. One thing you got to understand about Howard Stern is it's primarily talk radio. It is. He and it was always entertaining. The first time I had ever, other than reading his books and watching Private Parts, was his back in the early days of Napster. I think this was beyond Napster. Whatever I could download in 2002, it was an audio file of Howard Stern, and it was the actual live broadcast that he did on 9/11 in 2001. And it was absolutely fascinating radio. I think the broadcast lasted for 2.5 hours. He stayed on, people were calling in, and a lot of people, if you can find a copy of that day, it's quite amazing because it showed people's raw emotion at that time and what had happened there. But my first real exact exposure to him, like where I started becoming a huge and absolute fan, was when he went to satellite radio in 2006. It came to Canada. It wasn't in Canada right away for some reason. I can't remember why. We got, it was January 6th, 2006, that the first episode aired of the Howard Stern Show on Sirius. I worked security back in those days, and it was, I think, August or July. I can't remember exactly, and I don't feel like looking it up. But anyways, August or July, Howard had finally been available in Canada, and I had never heard anything like that in my life. It for one thing, working in the middle of the night, driving around the city, and having a satellite radio, I would listen to the show live, usually 4 days a week. It was on for 4 days a week, and then it would be after the fact. They would play repeats later on in the day, and on weekends they'd repeat the entire week. And you got exposed to his cast of characters. You finally learned things, and I was part of a generation of Stern Show listeners that had one of the most entertaining, and I've loved this man, and I'll say this in a second here, but that show was absolutely incredible. So, one of the greatest factors of the Howard Stern show was this man right here. To sit there and listen to Artie was absolutely, it was great. It was like sitting around with a bunch of your friends that were, you'd laugh, silly things would happen. He was the smart ass comedian, but it was entertaining and it kept things going really, really good. He, it's unfortunate with his mental health and addiction issues, what had happened to him and his eventual downfall in 2009. I feel, you know, yeah, everyone, you could be saying, Ryan, it's a radio show, but you really get invested when you're listening to it live almost every day and you start seeing things. And, you know, I remember, um, and I put the trigger warning up for anybody that can see it because um, in 2009, Artie Lang um, had a serious, and he still had for many years, but he had hit essentially rock bottom. It was December of 2009. And I remember specifically because I was doing subcontracting security up at the university. They were building something, and I was doing the construction security until we got pushed out by a long story. But anyways, I remember it was great because I'd work graveyards, so I'd listen to the show live. And I'd look forward to it, and I always enjoyed the mornings that Artie was there because it was entertaining. Fortunately, Artie had a spiral going downwards, and he ended up um, he called in sick one day, and then Howard said he was sick. Okay. Then the next day, we found out that, and we found out in pretty great detail that Artie had drank bleach and stabbed himself in the stomach, and that was the last time Artie Lang was ever on the show. It was hard. It really was, but for the most part, Artie was really part of the show. Howard has evolved in the last few years. A lot of people don't like it. They focus less on, and if you've ever heard the Stern Show, they focus less on like Sal, Richard, um, the back office crap. There's a lot more skits now, but you got to remember the guy is 68 years old. He's going to be 70 in 2024. So you really have that to contend with, and exactly what's going on. But one thing I wanted to I don't have the exact copy because it's somewhere in storage, but I think it was 2014 Christmas. I was listening to the show, and then I think it was one of his staffers said, "We got something for you." So I emailed the show like they asked, and I ended up getting this incredible, and I'm just gonna disappear here. This incredible Christmas card. I wish I could show the inside because it said "Have a Merry Christmas" from Howard and Beth. For those of you that aren't aware, the dark-haired woman is actually Howard Stern, and Santa's his wife, Beth. But just to have, I actually got that physically sent to me from the Sirius Studios, and it wasn't signed or anything. It wasn't personalized, but it was really cool to have the Christmas card that somebody that you looked at as a hero, just to have his uh, absolute just something from him like that. And especially being, people from New York and in the States got to meet him because, I mean, in reality, it's not that hard to meet a DJ. I've met many in my life. But, what's interesting though is when you get to these situations, you absolutely and I'm just getting things ready for my next segment here, and I'm not quite ready for it yet. But yeah, when you have everything available for you, and I can remove the trigger warning, suicide, depression, and all that stuff because I want to be positive. Yes, there's going to be some times where I'm going to talk about mental health, and there's going to be some times where I don't. And there's going to be some times where I ramble on. Today, I just wanted to focus on why I'm doing this and just my past with radio and why I love it. And my absolute favorite memories was in the 90s with radio, and that was listening. And I'll get to that later. For right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to discuss the movie that I mentioned in my test scan earlier. And that is the absolute
A realtor knows this isn't just a place to live in. It's a place to grow in. This isn't just a spacious floor plan. It's a space where you can plan your future.
Sorry, I had to stop there because the advertisement on this had automatically opened up a bunch of realtor pages from IMDb, where I'm getting this trailer from. Gotta love ads. But anyways, what we're going to do is I'm just going to mute myself, and I'm going to play the trailer. And then I'm going to explain to you some basic plot details of this movie, and not necessarily recommend it, but to essentially tell you the reasons why it was such a fit.
Detective Max Stern. Hold it, cowboy. He's the toughest cop on the force. Come on, go through it! He thought he'd seen it all.
Poor baby, you having a bad day?
No, I'm having a terrible day. Say something nice to me, will you, please?
You have very strong-looking thighs for a white man.
I like that, yeah. But nothing could prepare him for his new partner's personality problem.
Will your cat always be coming on assignments with us? Or just very special ones?
A multiple personality problem.
I'll fight you with my eyes closed. Are you guys really cops? I'm a cop. I don't know what the hell he is. You feel lucky, punk. I'm annoying you, aren't I? Oh.
That's a teensy little bit, really. Now, he's got a murder spree on his hands.
He's a bad guy! So, watch me. Oh, watch me!
Hired killers on his tail.
They might surrender, but I wouldn't count on it.
And his new partner at his side.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe you're not ideally suited for police work?
Gene Hackman.
If you change, make it into Rambo.
You, Dan Aykroyd.
I just can't deal with the violence. Now you tell me.
Loose cannons.
There's something wrong with that dude.
Okay, so I've mentioned this before, the previous show, and what we're looking at is this movie here. And actually, there's something, if you can actually see this on your screen, right there, the guy that's in the ambulance, this is kind of a really crappy picture. Maybe I can get it bigger. The guy that's in that's in the ambulance is actually Andy Dick. There's no explanation why Andy Dick is there, considering he wasn't in the movie or anything like that. But here's the thing. Loose Cannons. The premise behind it is actually really fascinating. If you are, in fact, wanting to watch this, I would just remember that this right there is, I'm going to go into the details about exactly what this show is about. And then after I do that, we'll have a discussion. I'm going to go into a couple-minute break because I'm not going to talk for the full time, just because I think that's good and everything else. But okay, let's get to the point. In my personal, essentially, Gene Hackman plays a rough and tough veteran Washington, D.C. cop. Apparently, at the beginning of the movie, they end up coming across all these bodies. It was a very weird thing. These people were dressed up in very strange Alice in Wonderland costumes, and it was really, really twisted. Just a weird death. So they investigate. It turns out that it involves people, German agents and things like that. I can't. Now, Dan Aykroyd's brought in. Now, I love Dan Aykroyd, and I find him a really good comedic actor. You got to remember, this guy he played, Elwood Blues. He played Ray, Ray in Ghostbusters. He's done a lot. Okay, the guy can play good characters, but his character in this, who was suffering from what they called multiple personality disorder, or dissociative identity disorder, he when he would get stressed out, or his personalities needed to come out because of a stressful situation, what happens is he would start doing cartoon characters, TV people, and things like that. And I'm sorry, it doesn't suit him. It's like he's doing impressions of the Roadrunner, Captain Kirk, just, random things like that, in a very manic, almost coked out like style, like Robin Williams, where you're laughing because the guy's just so manic he's just boom, boom, boom with little references, but there's no substance to it. Well, that's exactly with Dan Aykroyd's character. So that makes everything absolutely stupid at this point. But then the subplot, which I have to, and I will say this, is a really interesting idea for why the shootings happened and why everyone was doing it. And what it was is that very, very odd, but what it had to do with, there was this guy, and his name was, I can't remember the character's name, but He was a gentleman who was a German politician, and he was going to be named the next Chancellor of Germany. They make it out that, everything's good and everything's with that. But what it is that there's a tape, and it's actually film. And this film has an image of this new Chancellor of Germany who has a distinctive birthmark, which looks like a lightning bolt right in his eye. Well, there's this film, and this film actually has this guy having what they call, they made it up that Hitler died in a ritual suicide, and that this chancellor, who was, a very evil Nazi and a member of the SS, was actually the one that pulled the trigger in this ritual suicide. And it was actually the Israeli agents and the Mossad and these evil Germans that are trying to get the tape. Sounds like a pretty good spy movie, political thriller, shit like that. But no, unfortunately, it turns into this absolute ball of crap. The trailer doesn't even give it any absolute. It doesn't give it any substance to what it was like. Dom DeLuise is in it, and it's weird. The whole thing's weird. I give it a shot just to watch, to see it, but please go in there with extremely lowered expectations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple minutes here just to get ready for the next part. Partially because I need to cough and everything. So when you are watching this and you hear what's going to happen is you're going to see my slideshow, which I have set up. And I got this little thing that's just my attitude here. And then I'm going to put this in the bottom. And then we're going to go full screen. And I'll be back in a Okay, sorry about that. That was a little bit more longer than I wanted it to be. But yeah, I'm just trying things out. I think taking a break, especially when you're by yourself, is actually not a bad idea, just to save your voice. And then, people rambling and everything. It's like me, because that's what I'm doing, is absolutely rambling. But, that's that. So, part of what I was discussing when I was a kid, loving radio, one of my, and I'm still a little bit choked because this was thrown away where I don't believe it ever should have been. But I'm just going to bring up this picture here and kind of discuss over it. This was a Christmas gift I got. It would have been Christmas '92, and I remember it specifically because we were in Fort St. John, and that's where I got it. Now, this is analog, but it's an analog multi-band radio. And as you can see in the picture, it had, I believe, 3 different antennas. You could probably see like the one on the top. Then it had 2 more on the side. Plus, it also had the ability to rig things up. I remember I ended up getting a hold of like somebody's speaker wire or some old speaker wire, and I had it snaked from my bedroom all the way up to the roof to get as best reception as I can. And anybody that remembers anything about Mackenzie remembers full well that these multiband radios, no, sorry, not these multiband radios, but when you're up there and certain times of the year and usually at night, you can pick up a lot of radio stations. Well, what made this thing so fascinating, and I would kill to get another one, even analog, because, and especially with what's going on in Ukraine right now, the shortwave radio stations that a lot of people haven't used are being used, and apparently BBC broadcast for the first time directly in shortwave that was going right to it was going right to the Ukraine so they can use it. And then that brings up something that I will bring up probably another episode of this absolute spooky shit on shortwave radios. This thing was cool. It picked up AM, FM. It picked up this thing could pick up frequencies that it shouldn't have picked up. It was an analog police scanner. I could pick up people on their radios across the lake. I could pick up people talking on the forest roads, on the back roads. I had CB coverage. I had Autotel coverage. I could hear people's phone conversations. This thing picked up everything. It was incredible. I'm still would like to know why it was thrown out, but it's in the past and probably like 30 years ago or 20 years ago that it happened. So I'm just going to let it go. But, yeah, it was probably the coolest thing ever. And the thing that I loved about it, that was my favorite part of not listening in, I remember being exposed to the scanner for the first time, and there was a bad car accident on the highway, and yeah, I heard some pretty grim details. There was a decapitation, coroner, and just things like that. You would hear it, and this is back before everybody was using scanners the way they do now, or used to, because believe you me, I'm a scanner enthusiast, and I can't pick up shit. But shortwave radio is fascinating. And just to give people a very quick background, and what's actually ironic is if Blake watches this, he'll remember this. I got my notepad here with notes, but I'm going to show you something. So this is what you would call FM. See these lines right here that comes up? This is FM. And the signal's repeating itself, going boop, 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 right? So you notice that the signal is strong, closer to the transmitter, and then the signal's still there, but it fades. So the farther away you get, the worse it is. AM's a little bit different. AM, you send a line, then it sends a pulse. Shortwave is exactly that. It's one wave, then a huge line, and then one wave. It can travel immensely. I remember I had a shortwave radio when I was living in Mackenzie in 2010, and I was picking up Alex Jones on some weird backwater radio show on the shortwave. And yeah, it was absolutely not what I expected. But back in the day, you could pick up anything, and you would pick up sounds. You pick up many countries. There's certain countries that would be considered developing countries. Oh, my phone just put on this exact feed. You don't need to hear that. But you'd hear developing countries, you'd get Radio Rwanda, you'd get Radio Germany, Radio Russia. 92, there was still, shit going on there. But it was great. And in the event of a total, some form of apocalypse, shortwave would be the way to communicate. So, yeah, I miss it. I'm going to try something here. Because the next thing I wanted to bring up, I don't want to break, because I don't know about the copywriting with this. So I think okay. I remember this, and I remember there is a point to this. And I didn't think I was going to do it, but I wanted to, there's something I wanted you to hear. And so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to stop broadcasting. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play something for you here. I'm going to go on mute for a second, so just bear with me. I'm going to play something, then I'm going to flash up a picture. I'll just see if this works. Share. And it's not that hard. There we go. Okay. We're going to share that, and we're not going to turn that on quite yet. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to play a song. And just get ready for that. And here we go.
You might be asking yourself, can you actually create high quality live streams?
Yeah, you guessed it. The late, great Art Bell. That song used to play. That was the intro to one of the greatest radio shows that I've ever listened to in my life. It was also the most haunting, the most entertaining, and the creepiest show you could ever have in your life. Huge influence to me. Art Bell broadcast out of a radio station called K9, which was in Nye County near Pahrump, Nevada, which is about, if I got this wrong, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Vegas, in the desert, in his compound where he broadcast from for many years. Art Bell, I will say this, was the premier leader in paranormal, conspiracy theories. He started off doing political stuff in the early 90s, and then slowly but surely it started becoming more and more towards the paranormal, the strange, the aliens, Area 51. One of the greatest, I mean, he used to have a cast of real callers calling in that would absolutely, it was just bizarre. And Coast to Coast AM, it's still on the air today. I think George Noory still hosts it. I don't care for what the show became, but back in the day, it was classic. A lot of people listened to it, and a lot of people loved it. There is some very famous moments. If you ever want to hear some really creepy, spooky things, this stuff is real. There was one person where Art Bell used to have phone lines, and you would phone, anyone could phone in. You'd have guests in, guests could talk. I mean, there would be people from all spectrums of the world phoning in and discussing things. But the best thing was, and I loved them, they would happen periodically throughout the week. But on Friday nights, and this would be a 4-hour show, so it would be live from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. And then, yeah, usually, and then just to point this out, back in the day, which is now Prince George would be considered, they just changed it. It's now Classic Rewind, I think it is. The Rewind Radio used to be The Drive. Well, it used to be CKPG. And I mean, this was back, it used to be a news only station. So at night, you'd hear sports talk with some guy. And then after sports talk would be Coast to Coast AM. But it was absolutely phenomenal. And you'd have, there would be certain phone lines. So so-and-so calling from east of the Rockies, phone this number. West of the Rockies, phone this number. Canada, phone this number. And he'd have special lines set up for certain people. And he had no call screeners. He would push the button directly and you would get anything. He didn't have them for many years. There was one situation where he said, I'm curious. We hear all this stuff about Area 51. I want to know what's going on for Area 51. So I'm going to set up this special line. And he did. And I'm just going to do a search right now. I'm just seeing if it's available. Because it's hard to find. Okay. I'm going to just see something here.
Welcome to Leo Vegas Online Casino.
So
Looking for some
just bear
excitement?
with me
Play
for
Leo Vegas
one.
Bingo.
Okay, I don't know if I'm breaking copyright because this is an old radio show. It's available on YouTube. Somebody posted this. I don't know who it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add something to the stream here, but I'm going to keep a picture of art up and see if that works. This is a very famous call. I want you to hear it, and then just give me 1 second, and we're gonna have this playing in the background. So just bear with me here.
From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening or good morning, as the case may be, across all these many, many prolific time zones. From the Hawaiian and Tahitian island chains in the west, eastward, across flyover country to the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, Caribbean, where Montserrat continues to smoke and choke, into South America, north to the pole. This is Coast to Coast AM, the largest live overnight talk radio program in America. Isn't that amazing? I'm Art Bell, and we will do open lines tonight with one little exception. Now, last night I was feeling a little bit under the weather, so I wasn't here, and you got to hear a repeat. Now, as you know, I plan to do my Area 51 employee line. So we didn't do.
Okay, so just for context, for anybody who's knowing, this is a call that he set up, and this is exactly what we're going to hear. This is the beginning of the show. I believe this is from September 11th, actually 1997, and he held an open line for Area 51 employees to call in, and then some very weird stuff happens. Anyways, here's the rest of it. It's about 5 minutes. Bear with me.
Do that, so we'll do it tonight. This should be interesting. It is your chance to sing like a bird. If you are currently employed at Area 51, the area the U.S. government says officially does not exist, or if you have been employed at Area 51 in the past and now feel ready to sing, perhaps you can call up and disguise your voice or something, I don't know. Anyway, something like that. And if you want to call up and sing, it's going to be your night to sing. It'd be fun to see if we get any call. On my Area 51 line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi. I don't have a whole lot of time.
Well, look, let's begin by finding out whether you're using this line properly or not.
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really, really soon.
So you can't.
Now, the thing is, you got to remember, there's no call screeners, and Art Bell never did fake crap like this. And this guy phoned in, and this is, things like this would happen. And I remember you'd listen to it at night, you'd listen to it in bed with your radio on, and you'd hear shit like this. And yeah, I'll just continue with this. Sorry.
I spent a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. The disasters that are coming, the military, the government knows about them, and there's a lot of safe areas in this world that they could begin moving the population to now, Art.
But they're not doing anything.
They are not. They want the major population centers wiped out so that the few that are left will be more easily controllable.
Discharged.
So what you're hearing at this point is the audio is actually starting to drop from the broadcast. This is just what's going on. There's about a couple minutes left. The audio begins to drop out of the entire show.
Well, this was certainly interesting. We are now on a backup system, everybody. A backup system. And that one caller that I had on the air, I guess we were about in the middle of his transmission, his telephone call, which was one of the strangest ones I've ever had. And the entire transmitting system by satellite went down here, and we were notified we were off the air. And it would appear to be from this end and some sort of massive transmit failure. So we are now using a backup system to be on the air. And not that I would normally believe this kind of thing, mind you, but I can't help but wonder if somebody zapped us in some way. We'll find out.
This was absolutely just incredible that this had happened, and it happened live, like on the air. It just blew my mind that this is considered legendary. There's more. I could do entire shows with just remembering things from Art Bell and that. Art Bell has been dead for a few years. There's a really weird history behind him where he's disappeared, went off the air. He's retired 3 times. There's always a strange thing. I won't go into full details because if you're not really a fan of his, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna find it boring. But I would recommend, if you are interested in Art Bell, to look him up and just remember, like, it was this guy right here, and he was the king. And you can find a lot of old shows on YouTube, and there's clips, and it's really, really interesting. But now that we're coming in towards where I'm going to end it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up just for some things that I think I've been hearing, and this is just my opinion, and if you don't like it, this is my opinion. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just stating a fact. Yeah, there he is. You either like him or you hate him. I will admit, when he first got elected, I was absolutely thrilled because I had hated the Harper regime and all that stood with Stephen Harper. I think that Trudeau has done a lot. There's a lot. I mean, you got legalizing of marijuana. Look at the tax revenue with that. You have just some real stupid things. But, he's whatever. The one thing I just wanted to point out that's really frustrating the absolute living shit out of me is in Europe, agreements between a minority government and a third party government, or somebody that has something to do with that, an opposite party, and basically guarantees his lead. It's actually not a bad thing if you think about it. Yeah, it's a bad thing if you're a conservative. And I just want to point out, and this is something that has been bothering me, and a lot of people don't remember this, and I really would like you to do your research and do your history. In 1993, Canada had our first female prime minister, our first and only. Not very well liked man, Brian Mulroney, had resigned. There had been scandals. There had been issues. He's the one that gave us GST and other things like that. This was the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada. Well, a gentleman who we'll call Right-Wing Preston started gaining momentum with his Reform Party of Canada. These are really right-wing extremists. Look it up. I'm not being out there. A very impressive thing happened in 93. The Progressive Conservative Party went from over 100 seats to 3. Our Prime Minister, who ceased to become Prime Minister at that election, Kim Campbell, didn't even win her own home seat. The Liberal Party won under Jean Chrétien, and the official opposition party became the Reform Party of Canada. Now, there had been, for many years, a lot of bad press with the Reform Party. The founder and leader, Preston Manning, is a bit of a nut bar. There's things that they did that were not fiscally responsible, and these people were known as right-wing. A progressive conservative is, ones that would accept things like abortion and other things like that, where the right-wing ones, the Reform Party, didn't. So the Reform Party had bad press. They had bad everything. So what they did is they changed their name, and I think if I'm not mistaken, to the Canadian Alliance Party. Yeah. And yeah, the right wing, and I'm not going to go into details, but you had that problem. And then a couple of years before Harper was first elected as Prime Minister, the Canadian Alliance, which is also known as the Reform Party, became what is now known as, they actually merged with the remaining few members of the Canadian, Progressive Conservative Party and became the Conservative Party of Canada. So just remember, it's not your grandfather's Conservative Party of Canada. Say what you want about this guy. A liberal is a liberal is a liberal, and your Conservative Party, look at the people who've led it and look where they came from. That's all I'm trying to say. Just try to think that that's not the same party that Brian Mulroney belonged to. It isn't. And it'll never be the same because of the way it is. Okay, so I've said my piece on Trudeau, and my last video that I deleted because it was just crap, I wanted to bring up a final movie recommendation for everybody. And we will play a trailer here in a moment, but I just want to bring this up. This is probably a movie that I just about pissed my pants laughing, and I think I had to catch my breath from laughing. Here it is, Grimsby. It's also known as The Brothers Grimsby. This movie stars Sacha Baron Cohen, Mark Strong, Isla Fisher, Rebel Wilson, Penelope Cruz, Gabourey Sidibe. It even has, there's a few controversial moments in it that involved, I believe, Donald Trump appears in this, and not as himself, obviously, but there is a situation where Donald Trump, they had to put a disclaimer that he wasn't involved, and also Daniel Radcliffe. So what I'm going to do, and this movie is very, very dirty. It's what you would consider to be look, it's sick humor and everything else, but it's good. I want to give I'll play the trailer and then I'll let you decide. The trailer is very tame, but as with always with Sacha Baron Cohen, he pushes the envelope and he really pushes it with this. So I will just get this all set up here, and what's fascinating is I'll just get this ready. It's going to play an ad first because that's what happens with these things, and it's absolutely annoying because it like completely drowns you out. So here it is. I have it on full screen, and I'm going to share. This is trailer number 1 in the United States. And here we go. Enjoy.
Look, Seb, that's the couple that's adopting us. You are coming with me, right, Nobby? I'd never leave my little brother.
We've decided to adopt one of the brothers, Mr. Losley.
These boys are inseparable. It would break their hearts.
Sir, are you sure about sending Regent Graves?
He's the best I ever trained.
For 28 years, I've been searching for my baby brother.
You haven't seen anyone who looks like this?
I hope I don't die before I get old.
Hooray! We finally found your brother. He's gonna be at this posh event tomorrow.
Eyes on the target.
Finally, I can make things right.
Nobby? Oh my God.
Take him out!
Because of
of you, my shot was compromised.
A huge manhunt to find the rogue secret agent.
How can I help? You stay away from me.
Don't worry, brother. I won't leave you.
Don't worry, it's bulletproof.
You can't hurt us. We've got bulletproof glass.
Blow it up! That pellet was filled with the toxin, and I'll be dead in 90 seconds if you don't suck it out. You can suck it, or you can let me die.
Okay. What would you like written on your gravestone?
Suck it!
And in what font would you like that?
Bring me Sebastian Graves.
No!
I lost him forever. I'm useless.
You are not useless. Who's the man who can get me pregnant without even waking me up?
Me.
Who's the man who's never even read a book?
Me.
And who's the man who had sex with me in a police station without even getting arrested?
That wasn't me.
Oh, never mind that.
You don't have guts.
I disagree.
Ukrainian Ben Affleck.
Oh, Laura is it?
I understand why you love guns so much. I mean, it completely detaches you from the guilt of your actions.
Oh, will you stop shooting everything?
Okay, that doesn't even give it close to how good of a funny movie it is. It is gross out humor. There is a scene involving elephants that I'm not going to spoil it. But what I will do is I will spoil just the elephant thing. I don't think was too controversial, but the scene at the beginning of the movie was basically there was a sniper, a kid that had HIV or had AIDS or HIV, got shot. The blood ended up going into Daniel Radcliffe's mouth, giving him AIDS, and the joke was that Harry Potter had AIDS. Then at the end of the movie, Donald Trump's there in one scene, obviously not him. Daniel Radcliffe gets shot, and his blood ends up going into Donald Trump's mouth. That's what type of humor it is. It's very funny. If you don't like Sacha Baron Cohen, don't watch it. Don't. Well, I've been talking for an hour and 12 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know when I'll come back. I would like, if you are watching and if you have watched this and you are interested in this, definitely. Sorry, I just got a message from the boy asking me if I was still up. Yes. But if you wanna, and if there's something you want me to talk about, or if there's a movie you want me to check out, I always like a good movie. I can usually find some pretty obscure ones. The Brothers Grimsby, like I said, I recommend. And what I'm going to do is, this is my little, my symbol's going to end, and then I'll probably just finishing up. But I thought it would be neat to do things a little bit, showing up the pictures, and hopefully I don't get dinged for showing these movie clips and that, and the Art Bell clip. I will bring up interesting things like that. Maybe I can think about paranormal things and stuff like that. But yeah, so definitely, tune in again if you want to talk to me. Send a message. If you want to be a part of this, send me a message and get you on camera. Or even you don't have to be on camera. You can just hear your voice. I don't mind shooting the shit with anybody. You want to tell old stories or things like that, or the one thing I will avoid is I'm not going to get in political debate because I just don't want to. I have my beliefs, and yeah, we could debate about certain things, but at the end of the day, somebody that is me, which I'm more left of center than I am completely left wing. I'm more of a centrist than right wing, and you're not going to change my mind, okay? And I'm not going to change your mind. Yeah, we can talk about it, but don't push me. I won't push you. It's just the way it is. But I really hope you liked it. If there's anything like creepy or weird you want to bring up, I would love to hear some Mackenzie ghost stories, preferably one that doesn't involve the Morphe Lake bullshit one, because that didn't happen. I've done my research, and there is no death certificate ever issued for anyone drowning in that lake. That was a female woman at that particular time. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. I do have some other interesting factoids that may come back on in another day. If, like I said, if you want to send me a message, you want to set up a time to do this, send me a message. I may set up one where I'm going to review stories or talk about creepy things. Not to make light of the situation, but I think next time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I don't know much about like the actual history. I've talked to a few survivors that have went to the LeJac residential school outside of Fraser Lake. Doesn't exist anymore, but there is a cemetery there and the grounds are still there, and I will just discuss the atmosphere and just the uneasy feeling, and also the the ironic Catholic pilgrimage that happens there every year. I think I'm going to bring up next episode with some details. But yeah, I'm done for tonight. I really hope you all enjoyed it, for those of you that paid attention. And yeah, I'm going to end this really quickly here. And hopefully you will tune in again, give me feedback if you liked it, if you didn't like it. Yeah, just let me know. And yeah, we will all talk to you later. Have a good night.